I'm here with Gordon Chang, author, geopolitical expert, senior fellow at the Gatestone Institute. Gordon, I follow you on X at Gordon G. Chang. I always feel I should mention that. I love talking to you about China, and we're looking at the year that was and the year ahead. Let's just start with, what do you think the current state of U.S. China relations is, especially following the recent meeting between President Biden and President Xi Jinping?
Well, Nicholas Burns, our ambassador in Beijing, put it best a couple days ago when he said he's not optimistic about future relations between Beijing and Washington. And that, I think, really sums up the meeting on November 15th between President Biden and Xi Jinping. President Biden touted a lot of progress, but there was no joint press conference, which was not a good sign. And there also wasn't a good sign that there was no joint statement. So again, I think we have an American leader saying that things are rosy when the external signs are saying they're not. So I don't see that relations are going to get better. And this is not because of anything on our side. I think it's just internally in China. They're going to push Xi Jinping in directions that we don't want him to go.
Now, when you say they're going to push President Xi in directions that we don't want them to go, who is doing the pushing? Because I've always thought of him as being very much the person in charge and the person who's setting the direction of Chinese policy.
Well, he has been in charge, although in 2023, we saw a number of things that say extreme political turmoil at the top of the Communist Party, both in the civilian and in the military ranks. So we have to assume that there's a lot of infighting, which means that Xi Jinping may not be as strong as he appears. And I think that essentially we're seeing inside the party a lot of incentives pushing Xi Jinping in the wrong directions. So, for instance, he's accumulated a lot of power over his time at the top of the Communist Party. He took a consensual political system in 2012 when he was elevated to General Party Secretary, and he took power from everybody else, which means that he has accountability, and that means he knows that he's at risk, especially since during his time, he has increased the cost of losing political struggles. So you put those two things together, more risk because of increasing the cost of losing, plus total accountability. And now I think that he is under assault from other party leaders. So this is not a good recipe, and it means that China is probably going to be more belligerent and provocative over 2024.
Well, and he, let's not forget, he had an unprecedented extra term, which I think made people feel that in some ways he was in essence a dictator. So that's not the case. It's still very much the party apparatus that is directing the policy.
Yeah. President Biden on 2 occasions now has called him a dictator. And I think that that's right, because he is the one man in what is now a one-man system. And, we got to remember that there are very few coincidences when it comes to Communist Party politics, but a lot of this turbulence started when Xi Jinping started his 3rd term as General Secretary, a term that basically nobody else in Beijing wanted him to have. So, the changes that he has wrought in the political system, I think, lead to instability. Things would be okay if Xi Jinping were unchallenged and then he could do what he wanted, but that's not the Beijing that we see right now. We can't say exactly what's happening, Diane, because the system has become less transparent in China. But we do know we're seeing things that do not happen unless there is extreme turbulence.